All right, so good morning or good afternoon, guys, whenever y'all are watching this video. This is Mr. Collazo, and as y'all can see, today we are starting a new unit, okay? So we are moving on from exponentials, and we are focusing on this. So we are starting with adding and subtracting polynomials. If you don't know what a polynomial is, we will get to it, okay? So before we get to the actual adding and subtracting polynomials, there is some vocabulary that you need to know before we get into this unit. Okay, so all of these words you're going to hear us mention, me and your teachers, you're going to hear us mention today and throughout this whole unit. So the first one, and probably the most important one, is a polynomial. Okay, so a polynomial is a mathematical expression with more than two terms. Okay, and we'll see examples of all of these words as we go on. Next is monomial, which is a polynomial with one term. A binomial, a polynomial with two terms. The degree, which is a monomial with the largest exponent. Standard form, which is where monomials are arranged from largest exponent to smallest. And then like terms, and that's where terms have the same variable and exponent, okay? And like I said, we're going to see examples of all of these words. First, what we're going to do, though, is arrange these terms of each polynomial in standard form and identify the degree, okay? So if you look up here at our definition, it's where our monomials are arranged from largest exponent to smallest, okay? So looking at this polynomial, okay, I noticed that my largest exponents are the negative 6n squared and the plus 14q squared, okay? So I'm going to bring those to the front. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to rewrite it as 14q squared minus 6n squared. And then I'm going to put the rest of my monomials at the end. So I can put plus 4q minus 16n plus 7m, okay? So this is the same polynomial as the one above. It's just rewritten in standard form. So from greatest exponent to smallest, okay? And then the degree, that's the monomial with the largest exponent. Well, that should be in the front in standard form, right? And that exponent is a 2. So my degree is 2, okay? Pretty easy. So that's how we arrange in standard form. Now we're going to start talking about adding and subtracting, okay? So to add and subtract these polynomials, we're actually going to do it just like we did in elementary school, where we line things up vertically, okay? Because remember, if you write a problem out horizontally, it's the same thing vertically. It's just, honestly, it's easier to add, okay? So let's get to that. So we're going to flip to the second page of a little booklet, okay? And here we go. So we're going to line these up vertically in standard form, and we're going to make sure we line up the like terms, okay? So make sure we get that. So if I look at I'm going to be adding 3x squared minus 4x plus 8 plus 2x minus 7x squared minus 5, okay? So I'm going to be multiplying two polynomials, okay? So my left polynomial, this is already in standard form, right? I have an x squared, I have an x, and then I have one without a variable, okay? So this is already in standard form. So what I want to do is I want to rewrite this in standard form, lining up like terms, okay? So let me show you how we do that. So I have 3x squared, right? So the like term for 3x squared would be negative 7x squared. So I'm going to write that underneath here, okay? Then, underneath negative 4x, I have a 2x, so plus 2x. And then underneath 8, I have a constant of minus 5. So I write that underneath there, okay? Then, I'm going to draw a little plus sign outside, and I'm going to add down, okay? So, I start on the left end, and remember, they're like terms, right? So we don't really need to think about this x squared there. So 3 minus 7, right? 3 minus 7, you can put that in your calculator. You get negative 4, okay? Now I bring down the x squared. So negative 4x squared. I do the same thing with my middle terms. Negative 4 plus 2, well, that's a negative 2. I bring down the x. And then lastly, I have 8 plus negative 5. Well, 8 plus negative 5 gives me a positive 3. I almost wrote 8. Positive 3, okay? So let me write that again because it got kind of weird. So negative 4x squared minus 2x plus 3, right? That is my answer when we add up those two polynomials, okay? We're just combining like terms, okay? And we're going to kind of ignore this classification thing for right now. I think it needs degree. Okay, so we're going to change that actually. We're just going to say degree because that's the word we've been using. And remember, the degree is our the monomial with the largest exponent. So in standard form, that should be in the front. The exponent is a 2. So my degree is 2. Okay. Now, and this is probably the tougher part. Adding isn't that bad, honestly. You add it up, you line it up, you add down, okay? But to subtract, it is a little bit more tricky, okay? So we're going to line it up vertically in standard form, line up like terms, and we're going to distribute the negative sign to everything, okay? So we're actually going to, how I do it is I do this step first, okay? So watch this. So I'm just going to rewrite 4n minus 3n cubed, right? And now, if you look, I have a minus sign. So I have minus 3n cubed plus 4n, okay? So what distributing the negative sign really means is I'm going to change the sign of everything inside the second polynomial, okay? And I want to just make it like an addition problem. So this is how we do that. So I change this to a plus, right? And I'm going to change the sign of everything after. So instead of positive 3n cubed, I get negative 3n cubed. Instead of positive 4n, I get minus 4n. Okay? So now we can treat this like a regular addition problem. Okay? So I'm going to arrange my first polynomial into standard form. So this exponent's bigger, so I'm going to put negative 3n cubed plus 4n, right? That's this polynomial. I brought it down. And then I'm going to line up my second polynomial underneath. So negative 3n cubed minus 4n, okay? And I'm going to add those up. I'm going to add straight down, okay? So I add down negative 3 plus negative 3. That gives me negative 6. I bring down my n cubed. And then plus 4n plus negative 4n, right? So 4 plus negative 4. Well, that leaves me 0n, right? So if I have 0n, that means I have none. I have no n's, right? I have 0 of them, okay? So my answer is just this, negative 6n cubed. Okay, so when I subtracted all these polynomials, those two, I got that, okay? Now for the degree, so let's cross that out, put degree. Okay, if I look, I only have one monomial, right? And the exponent is 3. So my degree is 3. Not that bad. Okay? Now, let's slide down. We have one more thing here. So, if we have a missing term, okay? So the steps are very similar. So if we have a missing term, we're still going to line up vertically in standard form. We're still going to line up the like terms. But now, we're going to insert a 0 if a term is missing. Okay? So let me show you what I'm talking about there. So our example for this one is I have 13x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5x minus negative 4x cubed minus 7x. Okay? So first things first, remember we want to change that minus to a plus. Okay? So remember, I'm going to rewrite my first polynomial. It's already in standard form. So I got 3x squared plus 5x. Okay? Then everything after the first polynomial, I'm going to change the sign. So I'm going to put a plus, and then instead of negative 4x cubed, I'm going to put positive 4x cubed. Instead of minus 7x, I put positive 7x. Okay? So now what we want to do is line it up and add. Okay? So let me rewrite my first polynomial so I can give it some space. So I have 13x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5x, okay? Now I'm going to line up my second polynomial with like terms, okay? So you're going to catch on pretty quick what's going to happen. So if I put on 4x cubed, right? Now, you might think, oh, I can just put 7x right here. No, you can't, because 7x and 3x squared do not have like terms, right? The exponents are not the same, okay? Y'all see that? So right here underneath the x squared, I'm going to put plus 0x squared, okay? And then underneath the 5x, that's where I'm going to put my 7x. Okay, so see, that's where I had to insert the 0 right in front of the x squared. Okay, now we just add down. So I add down 13 plus 4, that gives me 17. I bring down my x cubed. Okay, then I go to my next term. 3 plus 0, that gives me 3. I bring down the x squared. Okay, and then my last term, 5 plus 7, I get positive 12. I bring down the x. Okay, and that's it. Everything's accounted for. So my answer, I get 17x cubed plus 3x squared plus 12x. And that's it. Okay, when we subtract those two polynomials, that's what we get. Okay, now let's go to some mixed examples. There we go. Okay, so we have 3 examples and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so here on the back, we have 4x to the 4th power plus 14 plus 3x squared. Okay, and we're adding that with 6x squared minus 4x plus 8. Okay, so first things first, let's write our first polynomial in standard form. Okay, so we go from biggest exponent to smallest. So my first term is going to be 4x to the 4th, and then plus 3x squared, and then plus 14. Okay? Then we're going to line up the like terms of our second polynomial underneath our first. So I put negative 3x to the 4th, right? Like terms, plus 6x squared, like terms, and plus 8. Put our little plus sign, we add down. Okay? So 4 plus negative 3, well, that gives me a 1x to the 4th. 3 plus 6, that gives me 9. Bring down the x squared. And then 14 plus 8, well, that gives me plus 22. Okay? So hopefully y'all know by now, right? I didn't need to put that 1 in the front, but if it kind of helps you, you can. But on tests and stuff, that will not be there. Okay, so my final answer I get is x to the 4th plus 9x squared plus 22. Okay, easy. You line up in standard form, vertically align the like terms, and just add down. That's it. Okay. Number 2, example 2. Okay, so here I'm adding 8x to the 3rd plus 3 minus 6x squared plus 5 minus 5x squared plus 3x cubed. Okay, again, same steps. We're going to align our first polynomial in standard form. So 8x cubed minus 6x squared plus 3. And I line up my second polynomial with like terms lining up. So I put 3x cubed, right, like terms, minus 5x squared, like terms, and then plus 5. And I add down, okay? 8 plus 3 gives me 11. I bring down the x cubed. Negative 6 plus negative 5, well, that gives me negative 11. Bring down the x squared. And then 3 plus 5, well, that's easy. I got 8, okay? And that's my answer, right? 11x cubed minus 11x squared plus 8. Not that bad, okay? Last one. So here I have 3x cubed minus x minus 7 plus 2x squared minus, right? The minuses are the tricky ones. Minus x cubed plus 8 minus 10x squared, okay? So remember, the first thing that we do is when we have a minus is we change the sign of everything in that second polynomial, okay? So we're just going to rewrite our first polynomial and then change the sign of everything. So I'm going to change the minus to a plus, and then the sign of everything inside is going to change. So x cubed turns to negative x cubed, 8 turns to minus 8, and then minus 10x squared turns into a plus 10x squared, okay? So now that we have that first step done, now it's just a regular addition problem, right? Now we arrange to standard form. So I'm going to write my first polynomial in standard form. So 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus x, and then the constant at the end, minus 7, okay? Now I'm going to write the second polynomial with like terms lining up. So underneath my x cubed, I put minus x squared, or minus x cubed, right? And remember, when I have an x cubed by itself, there's like an imaginary 1. So I'm actually going to write minus 1, so it can help me count, okay? Then underneath the x squared, I put plus 10x squared, okay? Now, underneath the x, right, I'm missing a term with an x in this second polynomial. So I'm going to put plus 0x, okay? And I can even go put a 1 up here. I forgot about that. So we put a 1 in front of the x by itself. And then my constant, minus 8, okay? So I add them up, and I just go straight down, okay? I add down. 3 plus negative 1, that gives me a positive 2. Bring down the x cubed. 2 plus 10, that gives me a positive 12. Bring down the x squared, okay? Negative 1 plus 0, well, that leaves me negative 1x. And then negative 7 plus negative 8, negative 15, okay? And again, we know we don't put that imaginary 1 in our final answer. So my final answer, I get 2x cubed plus 12x squared minus x minus 15. And that is my answer, okay? So again, it all comes down to if you know the steps, right? If you're adding, right, you line them up in standard form, line up the like terms vertically, add down, okay? If you're subtracting, the first thing you want to do is change the minus to a plus sign and change the sign of every term after, okay? Then you line up in standard form, line up the like terms vertically, and add down, okay? It's the same steps, okay? So if y'all have any questions, y'all can ask your teacher. But other than that, y'all have a great day.